So I just picked up an iPhone 15 Pro Max, and as such, I just lost all of my Lightning accessories because this has a USB-C port on it. Now, what does that mean for gaming? I used to use a Razer Kishi, and I absolutely loved this controller, but unfortunately Razer doesn't make a variant of this for iOS with a USB-C port as of the making of this video. So I set out to order a couple of different controllers to find something that was similar to that product that I would be able to use for mobile gaming. Now, the game controller that we're going to be talking about in this video is the Gamesir X2 Bluetooth edition. Now, they do have 3 different models of this. They have the Bluetooth one, which we're going to talk about here. They also have a Lightning port one, as well as a USB Type-C port one. The USB Type-C port, though, variant is only good for Android. So I opted for the Bluetooth because it's supposed to work with both Android and iOS. Now, you do get a carrying case with it. You also get a short USB Type-C cable for charging, and you get some grips for your thumbsticks. The controller itself is made out of matte plastic, and it does not collect fingerprints. It has a rubber textured grip where you hold your phone, and it expands like this to accommodate different phone sizes. The buttons themselves are clicky. You do have an Xbox controller layout. So if you were looking for something that was like Nintendo Switch where the letters are reversed, or you were looking for a PlayStation controller, you might not like this one. One thing to note about this though is it does not have analog triggers. They're actually micro switches. So it's just on off. So it would be good for like shooters or any kind of action game or fighting game or something like that. But for racing games or anything that would require you to be able to control the output with the trigger, like a sports game or something, it's not going to work very well for you. Now, one thing that I did notice is with the joysticks, you do get full rotation, which I love because I like this over a Nintendo Switch style joystick, but the top of the joystick is actually smaller. And that's where these come in. So these actually help a lot because they make these larger, and it's a lot more comfortable to use once you put these on. There's some textured rubber gripping on the back for your hands, but I found that when I play this for a long period of time, the way I have my hands on here is these fingers right here, they start to hurt. And I don't know if maybe they tried to make this a little bit longer, that would help alleviate some of that. But if you're just playing like short little bursts here and there, like a half an hour, maybe even an hour, you'd probably be okay. But if you're like somewhere where you're waiting forever and like hour plus, obviously, I just don't know. At least for me personally, I don't think that I would like this controller for that. With that, let's hop on over and I'll show you some gameplay and talk about the controller a little further. Taking a closer look at the Gamesir X2, you will see there are a couple of minor issues. The first one being the phone does not sit flat because of the cameras. And I don't even know how I feel about how it's like that. If you flip the phone the other way, it's just as bad. So as long as you're okay with it being played at an angle like that, then I guess it would work. But for me, I didn't really like this. It's kind of a deal breaker. But I went ahead and tested the controller anyway. Now with your phone in here kind of at an angle, it is kind of flimsy, and you can see it just popped out. And so that's one thing I didn't like. Now if you did have a phone that does not have a huge camera hump like this, here I have a Pixel 2 XL. This actually sits in here flush. So we take a look at the Pixel 2 XL, you'll see the camera is not touching, and it sits in here nice and flush. And it's actually really sturdy. So if you have a device that will fit, it's a lot better than you trying to use this on an iPhone. Now you will see on an iPhone, it is supported in Call of Duty Mobile, which is what most people probably want a game controller for, or at least this one, because of the micro switch triggers. Even though this is at an angle, I'm going to go ahead and try and use this. We don't really have any input lag. All the buttons and everything function fine. It really just comes down to the type of games that you want to play, and I guess the phone that you have, because if you have a large camera hump, You have to be really careful with how you use this because it is in there at an angle. So here we have Amazon Luna, and we're running Assassin's Creed Origins, I believe. And you'll see that controller does work. There's no issues there. It also works with the Xbox Cloud Gaming platform as well as PlayStation Now or whatever they've renamed it to. I don't have a subscription to that, so I can't test it for you guys. And here we have Apple Arcade, and I just want to show you that the device does work on Apple Arcade as well. You'll see here. This game doesn't have a lot of buttons, but you'll see both the D-pad and the joysticks work with Apple Arcade, as well as jump and the action buttons. Gamesir does have an app that's supposed to allow you to update the firmware and customize features, but on iOS, I've found that the app is basically useless. It never connects to the controller. It doesn't matter what mode I have the controller in, it just doesn't work. On Android, however, it does connect. You are able to update the firmware, but I found that when I tried to use this, at least on my Pixel 2 XL that I have here, I couldn't really get it to work in any games. So if you try to use this with Call of Duty Mobile, it doesn't register as a controller. I have to go in and try and manually map the game keys with their G-Touch software that's built into the controller, and even doing that and saving the configuration, it still it didn't work right, and it was really frustrating. As you can see, so we've switched over to the Pixel 2. I have my iPhone over here, and in Call of Duty it is not registered as a controller. You would see external controller across the top here, and as you can see, there's nothing there. I've switched the controller to G-Touch mode, and I've mapped all the buttons, and as you can see, it still does not tell me that I have an external controller. And so I think for Android users, this is going to be extremely frustrating because I haven't found a game that this just works in on Android. And so I think the reason it works better on iPhone is because, as you can see here, it connects as an Xbox wireless controller. And so you don't have to actually map anything. Anything that an Xbox controller would work with, this will work. And it has the exact same button layout as an Xbox controller. So there's no issue there. Whereas when you pair it with an Android device, you'll see that it comes up as the actual controller name. I really hope this video helped you decide whether or not this would be a controller that you would like to pick up for your specific situation. For me personally though, I don't think I'm gonna hold on to it for what I'm trying to do. I was trying to find something that would be more like the Razer Kishi, and this just isn't it. And so I think I'm going to be sending this one back. But if you do have any questions about this controller, please don't hesitate to hit me up down in the comments. And as always, I appreciate everybody that takes the time to watch these videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.